Hey, good morning everyone. Welcome back to the Ozarks Homestead and Farm, formerly known as the Part-Time Homestead. We're no longer part-time, well at least I'm not. I'm full-time homesteading. But that's another story for a different day. Today I'm out here because I finally finished my orchard fence. So that is the fence that is going to separate the goat pasture from my soon-to-be orchard. So I wanted to talk about planning your orchard and how things that I took into consideration when I planned this orchard. So first off, you might notice that there is a ton of tall trees right there. Now those are great because that is a wind block. We get heavy winds from the west. As a matter of fact, today we're going to get 25 to 35 mile an hour winds afternoon. And it blocks all the wind coming on the house and the barn and everything like that. The downside of that is those trees are going to provide heavy afternoon shade. So my first consideration when planting my orchard is trees on this side are going to be the ones that require more sun. Trees closer to the wind block are going to be the ones that require less sun, afternoon shade, tolerant. So basically right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go take my handy dandy flags that I got off of Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. These suckers are big, bigger than I thought. I mean, look at these things. Half the size of my hand. I thought they were going to be a little bit smaller. But yeah. And my measuring wheel, also Amazon product. And I'm going to go out there and set the layout. Now, considerations for the layout. Really, when it's non-commercial, it's just your home orchard, you can put them where you like to put them. There's really, some of these trees don't get very big. It's okay if they touch each other. In my last orchard, my trees were spaced 12 feet apart. They were starting to touch each other, but for room consideration, I think that's plenty of distance between trees. Another thing too is I'm going to set mine up in rows. You don't need to do that. You can scatter them around. Doesn't really matter. But for me, when I moved in, that field was knee deep in brush. And the goats have mowed it down. But now that the goats aren't going to be in there, I want to make sure that I can get my lawnmower in and around there. So that's my consideration when setting up the design, is to make sure that I have room between the fence and the tree to get my lawnmower through, and between the trees themselves. So other considerations are, you're going to put cover crops in there, you're going to grow something between the trees, you're going to do a food forest, etc., etc. With the way I'm going to space it in rows, it doesn't mean I can't do any of those things. Take that into consideration when you're setting up your layout. So take my flags and get out there and do the layout. Alright, sorry about the wind, folks. It's starting to pick up like I mentioned earlier. But there we got it. So it's not perfectly straight, but once I dig the holes to plant the trees in, it won't be perfectly straight either. They'll be leaning one way or the other and growing how they grow. So I got space for 48 trees. This side is going to be the shade-loving trees, things like plums, pears, fig trees where those orange flags are. There's some cover there, so I'm going to put the fig trees in there, hopefully help protect them from frost. Fingers crossed on frost for my figs, but we'll see. And then for the more sun-loving trees on the outer row is going to be apples and cherries, peaches, nectarines, and some random stuff here. So I got enough space there planned out for 48 trees. I currently have 35 here at the house. It's always good to leave yourself some space for that extra tree that you find at the nursery that you just gotta have. And then there'll be a few random trees in the back. After I put my greenhouses up, I'm gonna plant them in the back of the greenhouse. So yeah, it's looking good so far.